The first Android program is about demonstration of different types of text fields. Now I've already done the program. So I'm just going to show you how it looks like so that you'll get an idea. Whenever you're designing any, creating any Android app or working on any program or any web page, the first thing is that you should have an idea about how it should look like. You should visualize it first, write it on a paper, then you should start designing it. Now, this is what I plan to have it. The first is that I would like to have one title where I'm going to write one simple message saying that simple form. Then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 labels. The first one is enter your name, second one is enter last name, third one is enter email, then phone, and then address. And just in front of them, I'm going to have the text fields. The first one is to enter the first name, then second one to enter the last name, then email, then phone number, then address. And in the same page, I will have two buttons, one for the reset and one for the submit. And in the second page, I'm going to have only one label, which will display one message saying that form submitted successfully. Now, for simplicity, I'm not connecting the form to the database, anything. I'm simply creating one interface where user will be allowed to enter the details and he or she can press reset button or submit button. On clicking on submit button, it will go to the second page. So that's the whole idea. So in order to start this one, the first thing is that you have to go to file, create, click on next, new, and then new project. Select the interface which you want, the template. So I'm going to select the empty activity, then press next. Here I'm going to give the name. You can give the name as a program one, part A, program one, something like that, whatever is your wish. And this is the path where you want to store that program. It's better that you create your own folder and you give the path of that folder so that all the programs that you're working on, everything will be in the same folder. And then you have to select the minimum SDK. So I suggest that you should go with the Android API 21, Android 5.0 Lollipop. It will cover almost 98% of all the devices. Okay. And once you done with the details, then you have to click finish. So this is a new one we created. Now, just in case if you haven't created any virtual device, I suggest that you also create the virtual device Pixel 3a XL. So this is a mobile model which I have selected. Even you can pick the same thing so that if there is any issue, if you are facing any issue in your virtual device, then I can work on it. I can help you. If you are selecting the different version, then maybe I may face a little difficulty in helping you. So I suggest that even you install the virtual device Pixel
Sir,
3a XL. Sorry.
after installing Android Studio, sir,
Uh,
how do you install this Pixel 3a XL API
yeah,
30?
the
This
thing is
function?
that when you open the Android Studio, no,
Yes, sir.
at the beginning, when you click on this one, this Pixel 3a will not be available there. Okay, that option will not be there, but AVD manager will be there. So click on that one. You will get one interface, something like that, and you will find one button called as create virtual device. Either it will be on this corner or sometimes it will be at the middle, depending upon the version of the Android Studio. So you just click on that create virtual device and then you select Pixel 3a XL, then press next and then next and then install. So I've already installed it, so I'm not going to do that one. And then you can click on finish button. So I'm just going to cancel this one. Yeah. So once you install it, then only that virtual device will be visible here. I've already installed it. That's why it is available here. Okay. Now just to check, I'm going to run this program just for testing purpose. So when I ran this program, I got an error. Previously, around a couple of months ago, when I was running any program, it wasn't giving any error. But I think in the last month, I updated my Android Studio. Since then, I'm getting this error. So this error is giving that minimum compile SDK is 31 specified in a dependency error, while is greater than the my actual, which is version 30. So the installed is 31. Sorry, minimum required is 31. I have installed 30, so I have to change that one. So if you are also getting the same error, in that case, you just have to, one second now. So in case if you are getting this error, in that case, you have to right click on the app, go to the open module settings, right click on the app, go to the open module setting, click on dependencies, and here requested version, as you can see here, it is 1.4.0. Just click on this drop down menu and select 1.3.1 and then press OK. Now that error is gone. It is possible that you may not get that error at all, but in case if you get the error, in that case, all you have to do is that you have to right click on this app, go to the open module settings, select dependencies, and then here requested version, using the drop down menu, you have to select 1.3.1 and then press OK. And once you do that one, that error will be gone. Now this is the page which is by default it is created. Now by default one label will be there, that is hello world. Now if I run this program using my virtual device, as you can see that it is building, and once the build is completed, it will install and then it will launch. Yeah, it's launched. Now you can see that here the hello world is written, the app name testing which I have given, that will be there. And if you want to close this one, you just have to use like the mobile phone you use it. Okay. Yeah, close this app. Okay, now comes to the designing part. This was about the running. Okay, I'm going to close it. Now you can use this plus mark to zoom it so that you will get a better picture to, and you can resize the window also. I don't want this label, so I'm just going to delete this label. Now I've already decided that what kind of a form it will be looking like. So depending upon that one, I'm going to create it. Okay. Now before that, anyway, I have visualized how the form will look like and what are the labels. Now depending on those labels, now whenever you're want to place any label, the content, there are two ways to place the content. One is that you can click on that element and go to the text property, and then you can give a name, that is giving the name in the what is that, design part itself. But that is not advisable, because so what happens is that later on, suppose you have created on complete on Android app which has around 15 to 30 screens, and suddenly you have decided that you want to change the labels. So in that case, you have to go to that particular page and then change it. So every time going to the particular page and changing it is not a good option. Instead of that one, we should create one resource file where we will store the variable name and the value, so that wherever we are using any variable name, that can be updated using that one particular file. And that one particular file, we will store it in the res folder. In the res, there is one folder called as values. Click on that one, and here you'll see that strings.xml. So you have to open that one. Now, as you can see here, resources, between the resources tag, we have one value, that is string value name is equal to app name. So you can say that this is the variable name, and within the angular bracket, I have written something like testing. So this will be value. For simplicity, I'm telling you that you can consider whatever written in within the double quote as a variable name, and whatever written between the angular brackets is the value. So whenever you want to display testing, all you have to do is that you have to use the variable name app underscore name. I'll show you here.
Sir, can you repeat once, sir? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll just copy this one and I'll show you how it works also. See, in the design part, I want to place some labels, and those labels will contain some information like enter the name, enter the first name, enter the email ID, enter address, right? So now you can design that one in the design level itself, or you can create the variables in the strings.xml and you can use it. I'm going to show you how to use that one also. First, I'm going to let me create the variables along with the values. Now here, first variable I created that app name, and second one is the register form, reg form, and its value will be simple form. Now I'm going to show you how it works. Let's say in the design part, go to the text, in the palette select text and select text view, drag and drop here. Okay, after that you can resize it, and then you place where you want it to be, and then using the layout constraint we get, you have to bind it from at least minimum 2 directions. So I'm going to bind it from top and from the left side. If you don't bind it, what happens is that when you run the program, everything will go to the leftmost corner. Right. Now here, as you can see here in the text property, you will see that text view is written. Suppose if you type as a hello world, the same thing will be replicated here. So the same thing will be displayed here. Now let me change the font size first, and then we will continue with that one. Here, the text size, you have to find the text size property. By default, it will be 14. So you can change it to anything you want. Let's say I'm going to say it as 36, and then I'm going to resize it. Okay. Okay. Now the next is, I don't want this hello world. I want to display some other message saying that a simple form. Now, if you look at the strings.xml, I have written here the simple form, and here I have written the name as reg form. Right. Now, all I have to do is that I have to use this reg form in order to display the message simple form. I'm going to show you how. Reg form. So here in the text, all you have to do is that you have to write @ and then look for the string reg form. Because I've already mentioned those things in the strings.xml, all those things will be visible here. As you can see here, this one is the reg form. I'm going to select that one, and then I'm going to press enter. Now, the moment I press enter, the simple form message is displaying here. Got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, in the same way, you have to first decide how the form will look like and what are the types of labels you will be having in your form. And then you have to write down all those things in the strings.xml file. For example, register form, simple form, I want to display at the top. And then I will have labels like enter the first name, enter the last name, enter email ID, phone number, address. So for everything, I'm going to create one string variable. Name is equal to first name. And then within the angular brackets, I'm going to write the content which should be displayed. Just like register form, I'm going to create first name, last name, and everything. So now I've already created everything in the strings.xml. So I'm going to use them. So now the designing part, again, I have to place the labels. So let me put one label here. The font size is very small. So every time you add anything, the first thing you should do is that you have to change the font size. It is 14 by default. So change it to around 30 or 36, or if you want bigger, you can specify. So I'll put it as 30. And then look for the text property. Here you can see text. Text is already text view is given. So I have to remove that one. Type @ whatever you have entered in the strings.xml, all those things will be visible here. So you just have to find which label you want to place it. So first thing is that I want to place the first name. So I'm going to select this one and press enter. Now that content came, but it is, yeah, enter the first name. Now depending upon the content, you can change the font size so that it will fit into your app. So I'm going to change it to 18. No, 18 is too small. I want to place it as 24. And I'll decide where it wants to be. And then I have to bind it so that it will stick to that particular position. So I'm going to use the layout constraint we get. Just you have to click this plus mark. Okay, now the next label, what was that? One second, I'll just check the design part so that I'll get the same thing. The next name is last name and then email. Okay, again, one more. I'll add it here. the font size. Okay, I'm going to first add the value itself. Add symbol, last name, right? Okay, last name. And then I'm going to change the font size. Here. And once I decided that font size everything, I'm going to bind it from two directions minimum. And just for the sake of testing, I'm going to run this one and we'll see how it looks like. Yeah. Now this is how it looks like. Simple form. Enter the first name, enter the last name. Okay. I'm going to continue with the form. I'm just going to close this one. The same way I have to add it. Now enter the first name. I need one plain text to add anything. So I'm going to just put it here. Now here you can actually have some hint like in the gray shader, one message will come. The moment you start typing it, that whatever the message was displayed, that will be gone. So that is called as hint. So I'm going to add the hint also. If you look at this strings.xml, I've added the hints also, like password hint, first name hint, last name hint, email, phone, address hint. And for that, I've given the names, the values also. This one is, yeah, f name hint, first name. I'll go and come to the design part. Go to the text property, ampersand and symbol, and look for f name hint. And press enter. As you can see, enter name, that message is getting displayed. I'm going to bind it from two directions. Okay. I'm going to set the font size also. Yeah, 18 is there. I'm going to put it as 24. Okay. Now this one is going outside the font, so I have to change it. I have to resize it. So I'm going to close this one. I'm going to cancel the binding. I'm going to resize it, and then I'm going to place it here so that it doesn't go outside the app. And then I'm going to bind it. Okay. Okay, one more button I'll add. Enter the last name. This one also we need one plain text. Resize it, place it. Again, using the strings.xml, you can select the hint, last name, and then bind it from two directions. Now, if I run this one again, yeah, you can see that the label for enter first name is coming, and here also hint is coming. That is enter name. Yeah, you have to delete this one and then enter. It's left to you whether you want to have the hint or not. Some people would like to have that one, some people doesn't like, so it's left to you. Whatever you write, that will be there. Okay. Now I'm going to leave it to you whether you want to display the hint question or not. But these things you have to write it. Okay. The next one is email. So I'm going to add one more text view. Place it here. Resize it. Change the font size. Change the font size to 24. Resize as much as you want. And then using the constraint, you bind it. Okay. Now here I want the email to be entered here. So that's not a plain text. We here by default we have a text type email. So we can directly use those things so that it will be easy for us in doing the validation. Okay, next is email ID, phone number. Again, I'm going to add one more text. Instead of text view, I'm going to add the phone number. Resize it. Actually, in the designing part itself, a lot of time is taken. The remaining thing is very easy compared to other things. Now, the same way, you can add the address also. Every time you follow the same thing. You add it, resize it, place it, the font size, everything you decide, and then you bind it from two directions. Now, I'm going to add two buttons. Let's say one button here. This is for reset. Text, I'm going to change it to reset. And one more button for submit. Now, idea here is that when the user clicks on the reset button, everything should be gone. Whatever they have entered, the entire form should be clear. And when you click on the submit button, it should go to the next page. Now, if you look at this one, we haven't created the next page. So for that, you can right click on the layout. If you click on that layout, you will see that how many pages are there in your app. Right now, I have only one page, that is a main activity. So now I'm going to click on right click on the layout, select new, select activity, and in the activity, I'm going to select empty activity. So that is right click on the layout folder, select new, select activity, select empty activity, and click. Now here you can write the second page name. Let's say I'm going to write second page. And one more thing I forgot to mention, that in the source language, you should select the Java. There are two languages are there which are supported, Kotlin and Java. Because you already know the Java, so it's always better that you continue with that one. And of course, if you are very good in Kotlin and if you want to continue with that one, it's up to you. You can select that one. But I have never learned the Kotlin language, so I am not going to use that one. And then click finish. Okay, the second page has been created along with the activity page also. So this is the second page. As you can see, nothing is there. So I'm going to add one text. One text field I'm going to add here. I'm going to resize it. And I'm going to add one message. Registration successful. Yeah. And font size also I have to change it because that font is not visible. So I'm going to change the font size to, let's say 30, 36. Form successful. Form submitted successfully. Okay. Okay. So far, any doubts? Okay. No doubts. Good. Now the design part is over. Now the coding part. Now the code needs to be done for the first page because there is the two buttons. One is the reset and another one is the submit button. And depending upon the what user enters, appropriate action should be taken. If the user select reset, in that case, all the entry should be cleared. And if the user select the submit button, it should go to the second page. So we have to do the coding in the first page. Now the design page for the first is activity underscore main, and corresponding Java file is main activity.java. So here is we are supposed to write the coding. When you click on this one, this by default, this code is generated already. So you don't have to start anything from the scratch. Most of the things are already there. Now, the next thing is that you have to identify you have to make a connection, establish a connection between the design part as well to the this one coding part. So in the design part, so whatever the code you're writing, you have to write in the on create. Right, in the on create already this much is already there. So you just go to this last line, press enter, and then you have to think about what are the types of elements you have added. We have two buttons. So button type is there, select that one, and then we'll give the name as a reset. This is the button type. And here, in order to establish a connection between the design part and the coding part, we are using the find view by ID. The moment you type, it will start giving the suggestion. The moment you get the suggestion, press enter, and that will be selected automatically. Now here, in order to establish, the inbuilt function is already there. That is r dot id. You have to select the id dot, and then you will see that the whatever you have added, no, all those things will be visible here. Now you have to remember what is the name you have given. For example, here the reset button, if you click on this one, you will see that button ID. You can change this one. Let's say I'm going to change this to btn underscore reset. Press enter. When you change the name, it will ask you to whether you want to apply for the entire project. Yes. So I'll say refactor. The same way, even I'm going to change the ID to the button btn underscore submit refactor. Now here I can use that one, btn reset. Now what happened here is that in the design part, we have added one button with the name btn underscore reset. And here in the Java code, we have created one object of type button with the name reset. Now the design part and the coding part has been established a connection using this find view by ID of r.id dot, and whatever the ID you have given, that will be established. That connection has been established. So if you want to write some coding related to the reset button, all you have to do is that you have to use this reset variable. So you don't have to worry about that design part because already we have established the connection. The same way you can do for the submit button also. I'm just going to copy paste that one and change it to it. Same way, even the submit button, I've established a connection. Now, when you click on the reset button, all the input, whatever you have entered, that should be cleared, right? So in that case, you have to identify each text field so that you can clear the entered data. So I'm going to change the variables names. The first one, yeah. So I'm going to give the name as a txt underscore f name. That is first name. Again, refactor, yes. Second one, I'm going to select, I'm going to change the ID. txt underscore last name. That is L name. You can give any name. Third one is email. So I'm going to give the name as txt underscore email. Refactor. The last one is phone. It is txt refactor. So I need to establish a connection between the design part text fields to the coding part. So I'm going to use it. In Java, those are called as edit text. So I have to create an object of type edit text. This one is for f name, right? First name. So f name. Yeah. The same way you can access or establish a connection for the other text fields. Second one I'm going to say is as last name. So instead of the first name, I'm going to have the last name. Third one is phone number, right? The last one is email. Now, whatever the design part is there, all those elements we can access it from here because we have established a connection using the find view by ID of r.id dot and the ID of that component in the design part, and we have uh, established a connection and stored that information to the variables which we have created in the Java file. So that is here the reset is there, submit is there, f name, l name, phone, and email. Now the next is coding part. Now our job is two things. One is that whenever you click on that reset button, whatever the user has entered, all those things should be clear. And when you click on that submit button, you should go to the second page. So first I'm going to write the code for the reset button. So anyway, we have established a connection, so we can directly use this reset variable. So reset dot. So here, whenever user click on that button, it should work, right? So in that case, you have to select the set on click listener. So it is giving suggestions. Whenever you put the dot no, it will give suggestion. You have to move the cursor to that particular suggestion and then press enter. Next, inside this, you have to write new view by capital V. Yeah, the moment you type V, you are getting so many options are there. So in that case, you have to select the first one, view dot on click listener. Now the code is already code is automatically generated. Now in this on click method, we have to write the code. Let's say that is we want to remove everything, right? So in that case, fname dot set text is equal to nothing. Code is same as the Java. So lname dot set text is nothing. Same way phone dot set text nothing. Last one is email dot set text nothing. It's done. I'm just going to demonstrate this one how it was. Let's say so I'm going to run this one again. Okay. Okay, it's better not to add the hint option. Yeah. Now, as you can see that in the email, I have typed the email ID, but it is not visible because the text field height have reduced. So once you get to know that one, you can go back to the design part and you can change it. Now, if I click on that submit button, nothing works because I have not written the code. But when I click on that submit button, sorry, reset button, everything is clear. Okay, email, I have to change the size. Yeah, change. Okay, done. Now this was about the reset option. Till here, the reset code is there up to here. Now I want to write the coding for the submit. So in that case, again the same procedure. Submit dot set on click listener of new capital view on click listener. So most of the time in the Android Studio, you don't have to remember anything. Most of the thing, the moment you type the first two letters, that will start giving you suggestion. The moment you start giving the suggestion, you have to move the mouse and then press enter. Okay. Now here, our intention is that whenever you click on that submit button, the intention is to take you from the existing page to the next page, right? So we have to tell that our intent is, let's say I'm going to create one variable name in is equal to new intent of where you are. We are in the main activity, right? So the moment you type main, you're getting this suggestion. Click on that main activity dot this. So that means this first page where we are right now, that page. comma, where you want to go? We want to go to the second page. You just have to type the name of the Java file which you have created. That is second page. And then dot class. End with the semicolon. Right. So that was the intention, but you have to start that activity. Then only that intention will start working, right? So you have to type start activity of IN. So what I'm telling here is that I have an intent. The intent is stored in the variable IN. The intent is from the main, that is main activity dot this, that is this page. From there, you go to the second page dot class. So it takes two parameters. First one is the existing page where you are. Second one is the destination where you want to go. So that is destination. Now you have the intent. You have mentioned everything that this is the intent. Now intent is fine, but the intent will execute only when you start that activity. For that, we have one method called as start activity, which takes one parameter, that is the intent. So now when I run this one, you can change the font size also. Number. Now in the phone, if you try to type any letter also, it will take only numbers. And you can use this letters. Yeah. Now if I click on that submit button, it should go to this next page. Yeah, it's going. Now if I click this back button here, which is placed here, it will come back to the previous page. And if I click on that reset button, everything will be clear. So this is how the different designing the different types of text fields. Like here I've demonstrated the regular text fields, email, phone number, and I forgot to mention one more, that is address, that is multi-line. So I think you can add that one here.